Hi, Shalom Chaverim. They say about certain great people that they seem to be very great and very large, immense from the distance. But those that, as you get closer to them, and those that know them the best, often see the flaws of these great people. There are others which are very different. From the distance they look great, and as you get closer you begin to realize that the greatness that they seem from the distance pales into insignificance, into the actual greatness that is in front of you. They say humorously of a very great and a humble rabbi. He was a great rabbinic judge, and he received questions which he had to respond to from all over the world. He lived in Lithuania, and he noticed a very interesting thing. He once said to a friend, when he gets a letter from America, there's a long list of salutations. The world-renowned genius, the great rabbinic judge who was sharp and just, his honor, the great rabbi. But then when he gets a letter, not as far, but from Europe itself, the titles begin to become a little bit less. So it's like his illustrious honor, the great and well-known rabbinic judge. He says, but in my city, when you ask a person, who is your rabbi? They say, oh, the great rabbi. When I come home, my wife calls me Yitzchak. She doesn't call me Rabbi Yitzchak. Because it seems, he said this of course in his humility, the closer people get to me, the more they realize that I'm not as great as they think. But this is not with our Rebbe. From year to year, the greatness of Rabbi Schneerson, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, grows. And as more and more interviews are conducted from the thousands of people that spend time with him, an amazing phenomena emerges. The Rebbe's language, the Rebbe's insight, the Rebbe's advice is so profound. And yet he was able to find a language to bring out the best of a human being from all types of people and personalities. I'll share with you one interview that Jewish Educational Media just sent out. It's Rabbi Hirsch Weinreb, and this is the story that he tells. February 1971. He was then in his early 30s. He had graduated from the University of Maryland with a PhD in psychology. He was working as a child psychologist in the school system in Baltimore. He was an ordained rabbi. He was teaching Torah. And he had many options and questions. Options in terms of a job. Should he go into psychology full time, or should he join the rabbinate? If he goes into psychology, should it be private, or should he work for the state? If he becomes a rabbi, should it be in this synagogue and a different synagogue? And in addition to those professional decisions that he had to make, he was growing. And he had questions on faith and questions on Jewish religion, and was desperately looking for a mentor, someone that would give him the right answer. So he consulted with some of his friends and colleagues and scholars, and though everyone had something intelligent to add, he was not satisfied. Still couldn't make up his mind of where and what to do. Until a friend told him, why don't you go see the Lubavitcher Rebbe? So in the February, he calls up to make an appointment. Calls up Rabbi Chadakov, and who answers the phone very simply, hello, who am I speaking with? And Rabbi Weinreb says, a Jew from Maryland. Didn't want to give his name yet. He just said, a Yid from Maryland. And the Rabbi Chadakov, the secretary, says, and what does this Jew call, what is he calling about? And he began to say, he has questions about this and questions about that. He's heard about the Rebbe's greatness, and he would like to set up an appointment. And as he's speaking to Rabbi Chadakov, he hears someone speaking in the background. It was the Rebbe himself. And the Rebbe himself says to Rabbi Chadakov, what does the Jew want? which was very, very unusual that the Rebbe would actually intrude in a conversation. So he says, well, this is a man from Maryland who has a lot of issues and he would like to have an audience with the Rebbe. So the Rebbe tells him, tell him that there's a Jew in Maryland whose name is Hirsch Weinreb. He should talk with him. Of course, Hirsch Weinreb, who's telling the story in this interview with Jem, says, I didn't tell the Rebbe my name. All I said was a Jew from Maryland. I couldn't believe that the Rebbe said that this stranger should talk to me. So I said to Rabbi Chodakov, do you know that my name is Rabbi Weinreb? Rabbi Chodakov, the secretary, was pretty taken aback. I mean, this was a miracle that the Rebbe knew who was calling. And he said, I'll tell the Rebbe. Rebbe, it's Rabbi Weinreb himself. So the Rebbe continues, well, tell Rabbi Weinreb to talk to Rabbi Weinreb. Because sometimes to get a clarification, you have to talk to yourself. And with that, the conversation ended, and Reb Tzvi Hirsch understood that the answer lies not outside of him, but within himself. And as he concluded the interview with Jewish Educational Media, he said until then he was not decisive, he was somewhat ambivalent, and the Rebbe essentially set him straight. I like the story very much, not because of the miracle aspect of it, but because of the true miracle, greater miracle, that the Rebbe was able to bring out within a person who was undecided to make a resolution to become a person that can make decisions. In other words, this generation is looking for answers, and we're looking for direction, and often we're looking for experts and professionals to help us. And the Rebbe said there are times when you should talk to yourself. Ask yourself, what are you capable of? And the answer is much. Do you truly have to be a great Torah scholar to invite your neighbor for a Shabbos meal? Is it true that you have to be a multi-millionaire before you do a favor to a neighbor? Do you have to be an outreach professional before you reach out to a neighbor? As the Rebbe himself once said to someone who said, Rebbe, all I know is the Aleph Bet, the ABC. I don't know more. To which the Rebbe said, that means you know 3 letters that someone else doesn't know. Go out and teach. Go out and bring light. Go out and make people and help people bring light to themselves and to others. So now when we're talking about the Rebbe's special day, the Yortzeit, it's an anniversary. It's a time when we are hearing the Rebbe's words, telling us not only what to do and how to do, but telling us that to a very great extent, we can do it. Just talk to yourself. Ask yourself honestly, have you done everything that you could do? And perhaps that's one of the background reasons of why the Rebbe insisted that the coming of the Mashiach, which will be in our lifetime, is actually dependent on us. It's not the great tzaddik, the great saint, or the holy Kabbalist, or the awesome Torah scholar that Mashiach is waiting for. He's actually waiting for people like us, simple people. That one extra mitzvah, that one extra favor, that one going beyond. And most of all, the yearning to have a world of goodness and holiness, that's what Mashiach is waiting for. That's what God is waiting for. On this very special day of the Rebbe's anniversary, let's rededicate ourselves to this wonderful mission of finding the answers within ourselves to help bring goodness, holiness, kindness, and to transform a world into a messianic world with the coming of Mashiach. Amen.
der